LLM to decide what next steps have to be taken. In simple English, that's how it is. But the LLM cannot. So LLM is deciding what next to be done, depending on the different tokens and different understanding, different trainings on the LLM. But it does not really do it itself. It needs its loops and tools and loops. So by defining this, what we are actually doing is, what we are actually saying is, model is the brain, tools are the hands, and loops are actually the governing body. This is a very loose interpretation of it, very loose analogy of it, but that's how it will be easier to learn. So the model is the reasoning engine which decides what to do at every step and what it really is and what it cannot do. The tools, the hands, the functions, any tools that you are using, the tools are actually analogous to functions in software engineering. And then you have the loop and the rules. The loops and the rules are actually the governing body or governing by a system prompt that you write, including the rules too, which must never be broken.
Yeah, Shankit is on, so whenever there is a logical break, we can just invite him.
So give me just 1 second. Yeah. So next is the LLM. What actually an LLM is, I am going to take a break here so that Ankit can come in, and I'll come back and we'll start a new use case in around 5 minutes when we come back. Yeah. Please go ahead, Amulso.
Sure. Thanks, Ash. So friends, we have Ankit online, and as I said, Ankit is a globe-trotting executive. So he just landed at the airport, and we're fortunate to have Ankit talking to us. Let me quickly introduce Ankit before handing it over to him. As I said, this entire AI Code Sarthi, the Explore session that we're bringing to you, is the brainchild of Ankit. Actually, the whole concept of marathon is something that he came up with. So Ankit is an NASSCOM executive with 25 plus years of IT experience. He is an AI and machine learning grad from University of Texas. And in his nearly 2.5 decades of his experience, again, donning multiple hats, multiple feathers in his cap, he has worked with SK International, with Satyam, with Reliance. He was with IBM ISDL Labs, STJ as it was called earlier, and later on the spin-off of IBM, which is Kyndryl, where he was also into the customer-facing role for solutioning into the IT ops. And he has worked in this, the real FDE kind of a role from end to end, all the way from the customer requirements to that of, solution deployment, right? And he has also tried his hands being a founder of a network company called Computerwala. Again, multiple facets of the personality here. And he's been leading into the cognitive systems, storage, software-defined SD, software-defined systems for, most of his career. Today, in his current role, he is the head of NASSCOM AI and the CEO for Center of Excellence for Data Science and Responsible AI. As a matter of fact, along with the government, as we're really going to this Vikasit Bharat mission, the main task force comprises of people like Ankit, who is really trying to define how we should be handling AI from a responsible and ethical perspective. And he leads multiple other initiatives like AI consulting initiatives, AI adoption index, AI maturity assessment, the AI research, which is coming into the AI conference. I'll keep going, but with for the paucity of time, with that, let me hand it over to you, Ankit. And it's a privilege to have you on. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, Amol, for the kind introduction. Right. So, folks, I think first let me thank you all to join this explore session. Right. On a working day. Right. That clearly shows how much motivation we have to really upskill ourselves. Right. Again, AI Code Sarthi is a program which basically is focused on realigning, right, the coding paradigm in the country. Right. We are intending to realign the coding paradigm to AI assisted coding or AI mastered coding. Right? That's what we are working on. This program is basically built on very simple three lines, right? Explore, engineer, and excel. Explore is the one you are attending now. It's again a half day sort of engagement where we enable you, we give you entry points into how to use, what to use while you are using AI assisted coding, right? And what are the changes in SDLC which are happening, right? We give you the entry point. Uh, Engineer is a more high touch program which we have launched, which will help you become FDE, right? A forward deployment engineer. And Excel is with the skills whatever you have, showcase how to build, right? Using AI coded methodologies, right? That's the whole program around. Again, here we intend to really move the needle from the predominantly old way of SDLC coding to a complete AI assisted or AI first coding. Right? That's what we are working on. And why this is needed, right? As you all know, NASCOM has been there in the tech ecosystem for the last 4 decades plus, and we have really pivoted and directed the tech ecosystem in the country to the way where we stay ahead, right? Not only in India, globally, right? And this is one point where it's a cusp where the whole tech ecosystem, right, with AI, it's completely changing. It's completely transforming, and that's the reason we all have to really transform with that, right? Overall, if you see the opportunity is 17 billion forecasted in Indian AI market, and the growth is pretty huge, 25 to 35% CAGR, right? Again, here, if I just see, the current people who are employed in tech industry is 6 million plus, and we have at least 200K students who come out of college and join the workforce, right, every year. So we are talking about 6 million plus 200K students, and this is the workforce we have to transform. We have to be ahead of time to make ourselves ready for the future, right? That's this whole engagement about, right? Again, here, we would really want to shift the AI as a black box to AI as a teammate. You should see AI as a teammate when you are working in the tech arena. That's how we would want to have you think, right? Again, if we really want to achieve Viksit Bharat plan, we have to be ready, right? We have to be ready with AI first workforce, right? Not probably 2047, but by 2032, right? I think, or 2030 for that matter, in the next 2 3 years, we have to be ready. And this is why we started this whole program, right? Amul, we can move next. In this program, again, what will you learn, or what will you gain, right? Again, you'll get new capabilities. You'll come out with new outcomes for yourself, for your clients, for your end users, and definitely which will be ahead of time, right? The developers who are writing just code will move from code to engineering context. That's what you have to move. Uh, Again, here, uh, what capability you'll build? You'll build capabilities of using AI for designing, using AI for documenting, using AI for code review, using AI for migrating code, using AI for performance tuning. These are new capabilities you'll build. Outcomes, definitely what you will get is shorter time to build, lower time cycle, less toil, less technical debt, right? In this whole program, you definitely will get an certification if you submit your GitHub code commit, right? If you do that, then you'll get it, right? As a part of this whole engagement, the main agenda is to help you join the open source AI community and be a partner, be a collaborator in that, right? That's what we are looking for. This whole vision of transforming, the 6 million people will not happen from just some efforts from NASCOM or some efforts from few people. It has to come from all of you very clearly, right? I think we have to work together and build this new way of AI mastered coding, right? With this, I would want you to join definitely this program you are, but the other subsequent program at the same time join the open source AI community, which will really help you, you know, be updated. Also, some of you who are building new processes, please come and share your expertise. Right, I think that is what we will want you to do. Again, the idea is that open the doors of the new skills, then deepen and demonstrate. I think that's the whole program about, right? uh, with that, I think I would want to say that thank you for joining in. And as we see today, developers are experimenting with AI. Tomorrow, developers will write engineering context, commit faster code, right? And at the same time, as we go ahead, we will be ready with the AI ready workforce, which will be aligned for Viksit Bharat, 2047 goal, right? This is how we move from AI curiosity to AI coding capability, and don't consider this as an isolated learning, engagement. This is a national team, national talent realignment, right? So please have yourself augmented in this whole realignment, right? Join us, explore, engineer, excel, right? And stay connected, please. I'm sure Amol and Harsh would have shared, the links for our Discord community, our LinkedIn community. Please join there. I'm sure you will get a lot of updated things there. At the same time, you'll also be requested to contribute if you're building something cutting edge, right? With that, I'm sharing my LinkedIn. Also, please be happy to ping me, and anything come across your way, right? Thank you so much, Amol, and thank you so much for joining in. Yeah.
Thanks, Ankit. And one of the taglines which I always carry is it's a movement from as we go to the air first, from the curiosity to capability building, right? And that's the whole intent of this entire course. So thanks, Ankit. I think in the next one, what we'll continue the session. Thanks, Ankit.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye
So
bye.
terrific. So as we continue, we are really looking at the RISE framework, the prompt engineering. So let's get back again to Ash. And there are a lot of questions. We'll keep answering those questions. There are questions about RAG, there are questions about commits. Let me quickly address that. You can have one single PR which is raised for what are the use cases that you're trying to solve. We'll give you the Git repository. There are actually 3 repos, and you can pick up what are the use cases that you can actually attain. But as long as you do at least one, we'll give the certificate, which is somewhere by September, right? So, over to you, Ash. You're on mute, Ash.
All right. Sorry about that. Welcome back.
Yes.
All right. So we have done what an agent is, and let me give you a quick context on what an LLM is. And despite all the myths that people want to believe, I want to debunk one of them. And there might be some people who are already aware, but I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of it. Right? So when you define an LLM, and whenever an LLM comes to mind, it seems that a lot of people say that it can reason with us, right? And gives the correct answer. But this has never been the case with any of the search engines or any of the AI tools. What an LLM does is LLM can only predict the next token. And when I say token, a token is just a number which is assigned to a text. So in essence, the LLM is only predicting the next best text based on an algorithm which is already defined inside the LLM, or the LLM is trained on. The LLM is actually trained on the data only. So yeah. So that is all that LLM is doing. LLM cannot really give you a fact. It does not really know if it is a fact or not. It can only predict the next best token based on an algorithm, based on maths, right? So underlying everything here, what we are talking about in computer science or computer languages or computer software, everything has an underlying fundamentals in maths. Everything can be done by maths. So everything has its roots in maths. Now that if everything is maths, let's say if I ask it a question, I am going to give you an example. We have actually done an example already that predicting is not really deterministic. It is actually probabilistic. Because, for example, we did a calculator example, right, 5 minutes back, right? And if I give it another prompt, the same open code, same LLM will give me a different kind of calculator, right? That is where the prediction or the probabilistic nature of the LLM comes into picture. So, for example, if I say the capital of India is dash, and I ask the LLM, what is the capital of India? Most of you will actually say that, or let's say 100% of you, if I ask you that question, that what is the capital of India, 100% of you will say that it is Delhi. And you would know it by heart. You would actually be actually know it by the fact, right? It is a fact that capital of India is Delhi, and there is no one who would be able to change your mind, right? But that is not what happens with an LLM. If there are 90-95% people who are the data on which the LLM is being trained on is saying that the capital of India is Paris, it will accept that the capital of India is Paris. So it is more on numbers game, right? If there are more the numbers that are saying the capital of India is Paris, the LLM will accept that the capital of India is Paris. But the fact, it cannot really figure out if it is the fact or not. Because if so, in that way, if we all Indians start voting or start saying that capital of a smaller country like Philippines or some other country, some other smaller country is Delhi, then the LLM will actually accept that the capital of that small country is Delhi. But we as humans will never accept that because we know that both of them are different, right? So that's what I wanted to prove, and that's hope I have been able to prove. Anyone having any questions on this one? So LLM is not really doing any rocket science. It is just showing us what the popular command or popularity index shows, or what is the statistical probability of the next token is. Okay. So people imagine the model reasons like a person. It reads, comprehends, then answers from understanding. But the reality is it gives the text based on the next word. It is only a statistical probability that is working. Now, this one I want to spend just a few more minutes and not a lot on it. But do remember that tokens I have already talked about it, that tokens are actually maps of text. Do not worry about this roughly 4 characters each. This is based on the algorithm that someone uses or some LLMs use. So don't worry about the token length. We are already aware of tokens and the context window, because a lot of time what happens is the context gets changed whenever you are working in a window. So I'm not really going to spend a lot of time here. So the model can output the words, I will create an email account. It describes in text the steps to take it. It can write the code. The code, when you say code, it is actually giving out the code. It is not really executing the code, or it is not really writing it down in the file. All right, it is just giving the code at that point of time. But that whole of it can be done by the harness or the surrounding systems that it has, the habitat which is lying in. So it cannot really create the account. It can call an API, or it cannot also touch any system in the real world. So a language model is a brain in a jar. It can think out aloud, but it has no hands. Tools are the hands, and that is what the next slide is about. All right. Any questions up till now? Am I making sense? I hope I'm not going very fast. Yeah. All right. Let me just check the chat window also. Cool. All right. Thank you. So I hope if people are able to understand, then I hope I am making sense. All right. So the next one is actually tools calling. But before we go into tools calling, I want to demonstrate, or I want to talk about a use case that we are going to work now. By the way, this use case has got nothing to do with your assignment. This is a use case for AI agent, and we have purposefully nerded, if there is a word, nerded down the assignment for you guys, and that is already available in GitHub. I will come to that also, but right now I'm going to do an AI agent use case. All right. So, since most of you are actually working in corporates or are already developers, you probably have heard the term onboarding a new employee. Whenever you hear this term, what actually goes into your mind is that how that person is starting his journey from being incorporated. So it starts from the point that he submits his or her documents till the point he or she is able to code his or her first line. So this is where what the onboarding process seems like, or has to be, should be. Generally, can you guys actually tell me how much time does an onboarding process take in your companies? And then actually tell me how much time does week, or at least 4 days, 4 to 5 weeks? 2 weeks maybe? Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. So this is where the AI agents can come into picture. If you define an AI agent, an onboarding AI agent, it can finish the work in about a few seconds. All right. And that is the use case that we're going to do today. Obviously, I am restricted by the tools that I have. I do not have access to the HR systems of your company, or I do not have the access to the IAM or the authorization systems of your company. So I will be just simulating this right now, but this in effect can actually be created live in your company. Do not blame me for any problems that come up with it, because you are the one who is coding, right? So be aware of what you are coding and what you are making in production in your companies. Okay. So the tools. So as I said, we are gonna. This is an AI agent. So in an AI agent, what is an essential? What is essential is how is an AI agent different from standard code? There will be code, obviously. There will be code, but there will be also an AI or LLM, and there will be tools. All right. The entry point will always be the code. Entry will be always code. The code hands over or asks LLM what to do next. Then code picks up the tools based on LLM's response and executes till the goal is met. Any questions in this definition? I want you to be very clear with this definition.
Okay, vamos aquí.
Thank you, Satvik. Thank you, Naveen. It cannot have infinite steps. Yes, Ramya, it cannot have infinite steps. You're absolutely right. Bang on. Any other questions? Any other doubts? No. Cool. If you're using an agent, we need to pick the tools for our purpose, or the AI will pick. We will tell the tools. We will tell the AI the tools that are being used or that we have, and the AI will decide on which tool to use. I hope that answers your question, Neha. It is. Is it good to verify via AI? What do you mean by is it good to verify? We are putting the AI into picture right now, so yes, we will use it. If we are using agentic AI, this is we have done. Didn't understand the difference between LLM harness and agent. LLM is the brain of it. Yeah. The harness is the all of the stuff that is going around with it. So you have harness is not just one thing; it is a collection. It is a collective of different tools. It can be a collective of how you interfacing with LLM and so on and so forth. It can be a variety of things. So harness is not one thing. The tools will already be integrated. We will create the tools right now. How to choose which model you should use. You can use, right now we are going to use Grok right now, but most of the latest of the frontier models will work. So we can do due to LLM AI will work all logical things. I don't think that is possible right now. It is going to predict. So please understand that most of the logical things that we are doing or we are coding are already in one way or the other can already be predicted. All right, can already be probability of me using a better tool or me going to the right tool is very high because I know or we already know that statistically people are actually using this tool or that tool, right? Hence, the statistically, it is correct to use that tool. I hope that answers your question. So it is only statistically it is correct, but we can change that if we find it not correct. All right. If you're using AI, we need to pick the tools for our purpose or the AI. So we will be doing that. We will be putting the tools that are available, but the AI will be, or the LLM will actually be telling the code which tools to be used. Okay. Because there will be only so many of the tools, not a lot of the tools, but yeah. Tools and subagents are not same. They are not really same. I'm sorry. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Then we have the tool calling. So these are the two tools that we are going to use: get employee profile and provision access. Get profile, as I said earlier, the tools will actually be something like a function. So everything that a software defines tools is actually, it is a function. So get employee profile is a function which takes in one ID, and provision access ID will be another function which takes two uh, two parameters. All right, that's the tools that we are talking about. Now I'm going to get up to the GitHub. You can go to the GitHub NASCOM AI organization. This is very easy to find on the internet also. If you actually just go to Google, you can actually search for NASCOM AI GitHub. And that would be the first one that comes up. You will see there are 4 repositories here. We're going to be using 2 of them today. Do not worry about the Tech Mahindra. This is for specifically for Tech Mahindra. We have to worry about onboarding agent and the prompt to production. I will be using onboarding agent right now. We will talk about prompt to production in a few minutes. We would not be looking at each layer of the security aspect. This is a little out of scope for this. Data breach and threats are also out of scope for this course, this session. All right. So this is an onboarding agent assignment or the onboarding agent repo. I'm going to be downloading it on my laptop. So I'm going to go into that folder. This is a very simple command. I'm not going to be going deep into it because I am 100% sure that you have already been using it at your end. So, so I have already done it. Now you can do it at your end whenever time permits. You don't have to use your own laptop. You can use, I'm sorry, you don't have to use your company's laptop. You can use your own laptops also. Do understand onboarding agent is also not a part of your assignment. We have nerded down, as I said earlier, nerded down the assignments, and that assignment is in prompt to production. We will come to that in a few minutes. Let me complete this one first. So in the onboarding agent, you will find out the concepts. You can have what is an AI agent and stuff. And you can also see the resources that you might want to go through. This has GitHub, Python, agent building, and the others. If you are not able to find, if you're not able to follow with me, if I'm going very fast or I'm going too slow, you can always have a look at offline guide and do the stuff at your end on your own. All right, so this is the first task that we are going to work on. I'm going to go through the scenario, go through the use case right now with you in detail so that you are not able to, you are not getting any issues while you are doing it. Yeah, all right. Ooh, where did my task go? Yeah, all right. So right now, the agent, did I make a pull request? Give me a second. Oh, some people actually created a pull request on it. Interesting. You don't really need to create a pull request here. Only if you're brave-hearted, you may. But let me just check if someone actually merged the code. No. Yeah, cool. All right. So what is this sample gonna be doing? We're gonna retrieve the employee profile. So please understand the employee profile already exists. It is also there in the concept note where it go. Yeah. So the agent is there. Right now, the agent can onboard this as compliance pending and also pending. You will find a third employee whose compliance is already cleared. So you can watch the agent provision access without needing. You can open the data here. So the code is already done here, but I want to do the code with you. So I'm not sure what happened here. Yeah, this is the scenario brief that I wanted to show you. Yeah, perfect. Sorry about all the mix-ups. All right. So yeah, the goal, as I said, the AI agent will have a goal. Here is the goal. Given an employee ID, the agent must complete the 4-step onboarding workflow. So the goal is complete. The goal of the agent will be to onboard an employee, and that onboarding will only be completed if we retrieve the employee profile from the HR. One, that is the first step. Check the compliance acknowledgement status. Provision system access only after compliance is cleared, and then send a welcome notification. These are all the 4 steps which mark the goal as complete. The tools that are available for the agent are get employee profile, check compliance status, and provision access, and send notification. You can see that I am taking employee ID as a parameter. It returns name, role number, role, level, department, and so on and so forth. It also checks the compliance. There are different tool for checking compliance. There is a different tool for provisioning access, and there is a different tool for sending out notifications. Then we have critical enforcement rules. This is where all of the enforcement comes into picture. This is where the guardrails come into picture. Now, before defining this, yeah, let me just go ahead and do this, and then I will come to the concepts that I want to talk about here. Okay, maybe the PPT is actually missing a few things. Let me just check. Yeah, PPT is actually missing, or actually should be starting here. But I will come back to that. Critical enforcement rules. Never call provision access before check compliance status returns overall status is cleared or not. If status is pending, the agent must call send notification. If any tool call fails with an exception, the agent must retry at most 3 times. It has already specified that it can only try 3 times. After 3 failures, escalate to manager via send notification. Never provision access to a system that is not listed in the employee's access profile. Never log or include the employee's email, name, or personal details in the system logs. Use only the employee ID in logs. I hope all of this is clear. You can go through it. I am keeping it on the screen. If you guys have any questions up till now about the onboarding agent scenario, let me know. I'll give you a minute or two to read through it. I guess there are no questions. We will talk about compliance in a few minutes, Nimisha. So compliance is already hard-coded, as in is it cleared or pending. So we will talk about it in the task. All right. Since there are no questions, I will move forward. Here is a small use case or a test case for the agent. Employee is expected Priya Sharma. The role is expected to be software engineer. and the department is platform engineer, current compliance is pending. So in this case, if the compliance is pending, the reminder should be sent and the human should be asked for a confirmation. By the way, the data is already existing. I have Priya Sharma here. I have Vikram Nair. I have Rahul Mehta, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Priya Sharma's access is actually in compliance status JSON. It is pending. It is clear for the other ones. Here are the tools, provision access, .py, and send notification to py. The one thing that I want to make sure that everyone of you knows is that defining an AI agent in the case of not coding is actually defining a system prompt. So you have actually defined a prompt in earlier times for creating calculator, but right now we are going to do a system prompt for giving the agent a constitution, right? I hope everyone is okay with constitution, with the word constitution. It is not the Indian constitution, obviously. It is the constitution of an agent. So system prompt is going to be defining what the agent can or cannot do. And that is a framework that I'm going to give you. And that mental framework is called RICE. This is a way that you can give the prompt to the system. You can use the RICE framework any way that you want. The RICE framework starts with defining the rule, then the intent, then the context, and in the end is the enforcement. Out of these four, can anyone actually tell me which is the most important part of a system prompt, which you should not be missing at any time? Take a guess. So I'm waiting for the answers and people are answering. I can only see it is only me and Molsar who can see it in the chat. Let's see on the, you don't really need to do this. You can only check, you can only see my screens. You don't need to worry about this and this one. This is just a showcase for you right now. Yes. Thank you for taking a quick poll and quick understanding of, let me go ahead for this. So enforcement is actually the most important part of the RICE framework. Why? I'll tell you in a few minutes, few seconds. So let me go through the definition and then we will come to what is the most important part. Role, who the agent is. You are onboarding, you are the onboarding coordinator for your engineering team. So this is the role of the AI agent that we are doing, all right? Intent, what done looks like. Complete all the onboarding steps, then summarize. Context, what it has to work with, the available tools, the data, and the constraints of the environment. And enforcements, what must never happen. And that is the most important thing in all of this framework. This is the one model this is the one that model will not write for itself. I'll talk about enforcement in a few minutes, in a few more minutes. But this is all of the framework it is. Yeah. The system prompt is read by the model at every step of the loop. A rule you have once defined governs 1,000 decisions. This is like death by 1,000 pearls, but yeah, all right. This is what the role, intent, and context can do. They tell the agent what to do. The model is good at these on its own. It will infer reasonable goals. It fills the gap with plausible choices. But the enforcement tells the agent what it must never do. This is where the assumptions will fail, will come into picture, and you will be able to define or not define what is going on here. All right. The model will not really invent its own limits. This enforcement is actually the guardrails. It is the rules which are actually defining the guardrails or the limits of the LLM or the AI agent. If it is left blank, it makes up a silent choice which you will not really know until and unless you see the output. Written explicitly, it obeys every time. If you have actually written it exclusively, that this is what you should not be doing. So even in my days with SAP and in Gray Orange and in 1MG also, whenever you go ahead and define customer requirements, you always define what is customer in scope, but you never miss out on what is out of scope. And Amol sir can also be a testament of that. Then whenever you define the customers in scope, you have to define what is out of scope before you go ahead and start the project. That's what enforcement is all about. Yeah. It is defining what the agent should not be doing. When you leave enforcement blank, the agent still decides. You just don't get to say what it should not be doing. This is the lesson the live build will improve. We will show that, right? So this is all the builds that we are going to do right now. All right. I'm going to do an open code right now.
Kalau kayak gitu, kalau status cancel lantas apa gitu? Nino.
So I'm going to create the system prompt now. Before we go ahead and do the system prompt, I am going to ask it to check the scenario brief and report.
Kita nebaknya udah Karawang dan temannya.
All right. So it has checked the scenario brief. Now I want it to produce the system prompt. So system prompt is actually going to be a blueprint on which the whole of the exercise, whole of the agent is going to be based on. So it is also updating the system prompt right now. You can see earlier I did not really specify, only after compliance is cleared. Now it is actually saying it. It is also saying, all right, it is the same thing, but short summary. It is telling it the exact order and the enforcement. All right, the system prompt has been defined. And once the system prompt has been defined, use the system prompt to update the agent. Please do understand that I have already done the homework of defining all of the scenario, all of the requirements, and only then I have actually went ahead and asked the open code to start coding. Okay, this whole I will show you in a few minutes. All right. Let's wait for it to complete. And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, I can answer them now. Okay, it's taking a little too long for my taste. Let me just check if it is already done.
Oh,
So there
yeah.
is agent, and let me execute that agent. I can actually show you the code right now. So let me show you the code. Yeah, here is the code. You can see the tools are here available: get employee profile, get check compliance, and so on and so forth. And load stub is actually preloaded, pre-built. These are the tool schemas which we are going to send to the LLM before it actually starts to make a decision. This is where I am calling the LLM. All right. I am actually calling Grok API. And for that, I will have to create, use the Grok API key. I have not really specified it right now, but I will do it in a few minutes. This is where the call LLMs thought have come out, and you're using it to parse the actions. What is to be done next? I'm going to go through this, go through the code or execute the code right away for you. Yeah. And it is actually rightly telling me that I should be using dry run maybe. Dry run is there to check what is happening, if it is correct or not. And it has correctly pointed out that I have not reset the Grok API key. So I'm going to set it up here. I remember I was using it yesterday. I had a thing yesterday also. So, all right, it is not showing up here. Okay, it is not showing me. No, I can't really find it here. So I will actually ask my Claude. Well, I actually created an API here, API key in Grok. So I will have to recreate it because I have forgotten the API key. I'll create a new one in front of you. Just in case I forget, so I have actually kept it for 7 expirations, and I'm going to keep this here. And in the meanwhile, I will ask my open code to give me. So I have asked him to, because I'm very bad at Windows programs. So I have asked it to give me the command to set the grok API key. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Or I can use this also. I'm going to use this key. Right. That has been saved. And now I can actually run my Python command again. Oh, I don't have Python here. Oh, I have it on the onboarding agent. Oh, it is not set because I set it outside the folder. Huh? This is not how it should be. Give me a few seconds. I can actually I can actually copy this, but I don't want to do this because I will have to create a new grok API key. So let me just check what's going on. No, I can use the other command. Let me use the other one. This is better. Yep. So it's showing me the grok API key has been set. All right. Now that the grok API has been set, I can actually give it the employee ID. So you see the step one, it executed. This thought was actually sent to the LLM, and LLM figured out that the next step or next tool that has to be called or action that has to be done is get employee profile, and the input was provided BYRE, and the employee was not found. Then again, in the next step, the LLM was called, the Grok API was called, and it decided since the get employee profile, sorry, tool call failed with an employee not found, I need to escalate this to the manager. All right. And then again, the manager channel. So please understand that this is a very simple AI agent. It does not really require an LLM, but I have purposefully created it in such a way that we will be using an LLM, or we will be showcasing how the LLM can decide what tools to be used next. You can also go ahead and use the other employee, which is Priya. Yeah, and Priya's compliance is pending, so it should actually put the human in the loop, HITL, and that's where it is asking me to confirm or pending. I'll say pending first, and then I will say confirm the next one. So it is again asking me for the same thing. I will again say pending. So can anyone actually tell me why did it ask me only 3 times? Did I define something somewhere? I did not need to restart the terminal. Yes, where? Yep, 3 steps. But which part of the system prompt did I define that? Exactly. Hence, I prove that after three or enforcements are one of the biggest things in this whole rights framework, right? Okay. Give me one more second. Yeah, I will actually do the other case also. So now I will say confirmed. Oh, it has already got it in that.
Shift kedua, Pak. Shift kedua. Oh, tidak.
Perfect. So you get
Saya nggak takut
the
lagi,
gist
Pak.
of it. You can actually go ahead and look at this whole GitHub link and figure out if you need to follow, if you would like to do it again. All right. Sir, I am actually done with one use case. Are you there, Amol sir?
Hmm?
Yeah. Ash, what we'll do,
Senior.
if I
Yeah.
got to go. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll take that use case maybe a little later.
Yeah.
So maybe what I'll do is that I'll cover the RAG and MCP. But let's see if there are
I-
questions by far.
Yeah.